Well, okay, sweetie MFA. Oh no, that's a sweetie. Beautiful MFA.
That sounds nice. That's really nice. Sweetie
I was gonna say sweet MFA.
Yeah, you've had a lot of sweets on this table. That's why.
I won't say anything.
Well, time now for news review, and we've got one of everybody's favorites, Dr. Akwatia, Deputy Communications Director, Baumia campaign. Ehono. Today we'll hit there small, okay?
The Baumia campaign, eh?
Yeah.
You hit there?
Yeah, we'll hit that small.
I'm told it's going well, oh.
She's here.
So she'll tell us.
To speak for herself.
Okay.
We've also got Mohammed Battaglia. That name, I have to keep rehearsing it all the time, but MP Sisala East and board member Tour. Ladies and gentlemen, doctor and gentlemen, thank you for joining us to do a news review.
Thank you so much.
Battaglia is a very nice gentleman.
Yeah.
And when he meets Akwatia, then he becomes...
more nicer.
I'm sure this will not cause a problem at our various parties.
I hope not.
No, but politics should not make you anything, so it's fine.
No, we are brothers and sisters.
Of course.
Anyway, like we do always, let's give you a maximum of 2 minutes to tell us your reflections. Maybe we'll start with you, Honorable Battaglia.
Well, I'll start by saying a very good morning to all of us on this table, our brothers here, and also to use this opportunity once again to greet the people of Sisala East for the opportunity given me. Today, what is really on mind is the happenings in Solatulba, Etuna, Calabar. Quite sad. Once again, I think we have brothers at each other's neck. So far, reports indicate that we've lost about 10 people. It is only my prayer that people should have sober reflections over this. Coming here, I listened through your news line that the Savannah Regional Security Council is calling the parties together to be able to have a dialogue as to how they could nip this in the bud. It is our prayer that this actually should not prolong for a period. We've had some other experiences in Boko. We don't want to have distance recurring again at our area because it only continue to plunge the already suffering citizens into much more deeper, difficult situations. We've heard of women and children lying at the schools, hospitals, crying for survival and all that. This is not good. We should try as much as possible to let our tempers calm down. Let's reflect over ourselves. We are one. Pulling a dagger before a brother or after a brother is not a solution to our problems. We have more to deal with than to kill ourselves. So it is my prayer that my brother, the Honorable MP Chiwati, we are with him in these difficult times to make sure that things we put in place. Thank you.
I mean, yesterday he sounded very helpless. Calling on the IGP to send men there because the situation was dire. We spoke to Nadmo. He also painted the same picture that the situation is dire because they even describe it as a fire outbreak. That when you hear the situation is in this community, before you know, it is in the other community and it's spreading, you know. So he says the IGP gave them the assurance that he will deploy men. We hope that today that is done to quell what is happening there. It's not a pretty situation. Well, Doc, we don't know about your reflections.
Today, I mean, it's actually quite a sad and unfortunate day. And, you know, funny enough, it's along the same lines as Honorable went. And I was quite happy with the word he used, sober reflection. Because there should never be a situation where political capital is created from the death of innocent people. I was very disappointed to see the video that was going around on Sunday because I thought it was completely unnecessary. If data or anything is to go about, it would also be clear to all of us that most of the things that were said in that video were also not supported, in fact, not in any way. They were completely untrue. And the statement was that the former Vice President, His Excellency Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, should not be repeated in the NPP because he's a Mamprusi and there's a conflict. If there was any truth to that matter, knowing Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, I know he would not even present himself again to be flag bearer of the MPP. but there's nothing that points there's any truth in that. And I would explain just a little for those that are legitimately curious about the circumstances. The Boko enclave, as we've had in our politics, has never really been an MPP seat. I mean, if you look at the data on those regions, we've never even been able to have more than 2 seats at a time. And even when we had 2 seats, we were not able to retain it. We are always able to take some advantage of maybe some skirmishes in the NDC to take 1 seat here and there, but it's by no means an MPP seat. And so to say that the defeat we suffered was as a result of something like that, when these clashes are something that are very ongoing, they've been reignited, we've seen the deaths of innocents, I think it's very unfortunate for the honourable member to have gone on that tangent. And I think sometimes people make statements and they forget the repercussions that could come. First, you seek to create an impression that some minority groups are excluded from leadership. And I think a lot of people take that personal, because as a country, Ghana, we are very diverse. We are all from different places, but we've always had that ability to live together, and leaders come from all corners, especially when there's no factual basis to show that that was part of our problems. I don't know why going on that tangent was necessary, especially seeing just how volatile the conflict is over there. I was on my way here, and then someone sent me a news post somewhere in 2016 of one of the groups in that conflict basically attacking His Excellency, the former President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, on the same matter. So it's something that has gone on for a very long time, and from time to time politicians are drawn in. So it is not even the first time, because we have a candidate from that zone. His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo also was, brought into the conflict by one of the factions. So again, I don't see how killing of innocents and a conflict that we don't seem to be able to deal with is a campaign message. It shows a little lack in that, that direction. And as I was talking about how things like this blow down, there are even reports that I've been getting from some of our constituency executives, the youth organizers in that zone now, that after that video and the resurgence of the matter, they are beginning to get threats again as Kusasi people who are MPP. And basically after the election, that was the last time a threat on his life was had, but just after this video and the recent how the matter was been brought back into the limelight, he received another threat. So these are some of the, what would I say, some of the side effects, some of the things that you don't expect to come out from the speech that you make, that seem to happen. So I would admonish and hope that we can drop that kind of conversation, because it does not help us at all.
But Brian's side has apologized to say that it was taken out of context.
I haven't seen the apology. I saw a statement that the video was pieced together. I didn't see any evidence of that. In fact, what I saw was a doubling down. And another allegation that I would also want to respond to, that His Excellency Dr. Bawumia did not deliver the northern votes, as he said. But we were all in this country, and I'm pretty sure if we are all being honest, we know the main factor, the main driver of the MPP's defeat. And if we want to be honest to ourselves, we all know that it wasn't a matter of religion or tribe. In fact, all around the country, all around the world in 2024, a lot of incumbent governments, about 80 to 90% of incumbent governments were kicked out because of how hard the times were. So to think that maybe the problems that we had were not existing in the north, and so they should just vote on those bases, is something I find quite difficult. And again, even if you want to be honest and look at it, the only region out of our 16 regions where His Excellency, the former Vice President, had a significant uptick in the number of votes was in his home region, Northeast. So it can be said that it was delivered to us by him. We had a 10% uptick in the presidential votes in Northeast. But to contrast it, in the honourable member's own constituency, he had a drop in his votes. So how would that also be related to religion or tribe. We did not want to go on this tangent of calling people out. We hope this competition would be about presenting to the people of Ghana what we plan to do for them, how we plan to better their lives, our way of driving growth in Ghana. But it looks like some camps would rather do divisive politics that in the end will become an albatross around the neck of the MPP, because after all of this, we would have to come together and fight for power. So we really did not want to go down this line. But I can see that he was speaking less on facts and more on maybe his personal beliefs and perceptions. And if we also want to go on that tangent of personal beliefs and perceptions, one of the things that I think was even the penultimate nail in our coffin in 2024, you know, after this happened before the whole Galamsey issue, was when all the labor unions in this country, TUC, civil society, everyone was against the MPP government at that time because a certain minister wanted to buy the SNED hotels. It was something that we were greatly lambasted for. And it's something that we spent about 1 month trying to deal with when we could have been selling the good policies of His Excellency Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. So I find it very unfortunate that even after we had to go through all of that, there's still a need to apportion blame when there's none to be had. Okay. I would hope that we can move away from this divisive politics, because it is one Ghana. I mean, looking around this table, I'm sure we all come from very different places, but we come here every time, exchange ideas, and that has always been the beauty of our country. So to now descend into a point where we want to generate political capital out of the killing of innocents and a conflict that we do not seem to have a way forward in dealing with, I would greatly ask that we move away from that and condemn such actions so that they do not continue. We cannot make this campaign about these things. How does that benefit the growth of this country, that somebody is from here or somebody from here? I don't think as young people in this country that's what we are looking for. We want to hear what you have to say, and I was quite happy that some of the youth organizers in the party issued a statement that, you know, this is not the kind of campaign we want. So as we move forward.
Okay, is the Bawumia camp capitalizing on this, where you don't actually care whether Ryan's camp says that, listen, that tape is doctored, it's not what I said, it's not what I meant? I mean, knowing that it's a very emotional and sensitive area, is your camp as well using that to gain some traction to yourself?
No.
So that you don't believe him at all?
Not at all, MFA. Have you had the opportunity to see the video yourself? You see, there's great continuity. So I'm no expert, but I do not see any evidence that is being cut and paste together. There were people that were there because he was campaigning. You know, it was not something that he said behind closed doors in secret. He was campaigning to people. So there were people that were there that heard him. And it actually was a good thing that the video came out, or people would not know what the campaign message from that side was. So I don't want to take this whole matter of doctored. If it was an apology, maybe I did not mean that, I was misled. You know, those are things we can go with. And we do not, and we don't enjoy this. I'm sure you can tell since I even turned up in the studio this morning. That's not the kind of conversation we want to have. And I'm actually hoping that he doesn't go on that tangent anymore, and that kind of politics can just die a natural death. It's not something we enjoy talking about.
Right.
Maybe we wrap with that particular statement from the youth organizers. It says, the constituency youth organizers within the New Patriotic Party has noted with deep concern the recent reckless and tribal comment made by Honorable Brian Achampon against His Excellency Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, former Vice President of the Republic and flag bearer of the MPP for the 2024 general elections. We unequivocally condemn these unfortunate remarks, which are not only divisive, but also an affront to the spirit of unity, inclusiveness, and progress that our great party stands for. The MPP has, since its inception, thrived on the collective contributions of Ghanaians from all regions, religions, and backgrounds. Any attempt to sow seeds of tribalism and disunity within our party undermines the sacrifices of our founding fathers and jeopardizes the confidence of millions of Ghanaians who look up to the MPP as the party of hope, development, and national cohesion. So that's coming from the constituency youth organizers on this particular development. Yeah. Ebefa, you wanted to come in?
No, I was gonna allow Honorable to.
Oh, okay.
Just
Well, naturally, I shouldn't have been commenting on this because it sounds like I should have given my dear sister the opportunity to talk more on this because it's more about home match. But it calls to mind a whole lot of things. One, to ask whether, as a country, we are progressing. Sometimes we do things and emphasize on them not because we think they are the right things to do, but because we think they favor us. One would have thought that at this point, issues about tribalism serving as indicators to be able to point out who leads this country or not shouldn't have been the issue. Because some time past, we did ask these questions. And we tease in a more positive way, tease our brother, His Excellency, the former Vice President, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, saying that, yes, you appear as a very competent person. That's what the people say. You appear to be somebody who is working so hard for the country, for MPP. Are you sure you are accepted as such? Or you wanted to be, you will be used as a tool to just get what? Power. Those days, they felt that the commentary then from us was not a genuine one. We felt that, no, you were somebody there killing yourself, doing all the press conferences. Pointing out, even at a point when we came to 2024 election, we decided to move away from that tribal talk and we're looking at the issues because you were doing this A, B, C, D, acts against what? This. Today, why are you not doing those? Like that's why we're looking at more of economic issues. But today, it has gone full cycle and it's back. Those he leaned on to showcase himself are now telling him that no, we are here because you led us. We are here because you come from a small group. We are here because even the small group you come from do not agree to themselves, they kill themselves. That's what they're telling us. And I think it's quite unfortunate. There's only one, sometimes I try to analyze politics and in terms of leadership. People will come to conclusion on two things. And if you have lucky, or three things rather, those who think that you should be there because they have control over you. Those who think that when you are there, they will benefit. And the final group, those who think that you are competent, when you are there, the nation will progress. You will be a lucky person if you have a group of people going for the last group. And that's the challenge he's facing today. But who are we? We are waiting. We are just waiting. We are waiting. As in we are waiting. But
Okay.
this is not the way we want to go.
Yeah.
The issues about, no, it's not proper.
I mean, election should be about issues, right?
No, it should be about issues.
Yeah.
And clearly, I think that they should up the game.
Okay.
We are also giving the question tomorrow when we begin to talk about this. I'm sure my decision will say that why are you talking about? Because you give us the tools.
You see, and that's the problem
Okay.
that most of them. I don't know what is preventing them from seeing that, because not later than January 31st, all of this will be over.
Yeah.
And as a party, we would have to unite and come behind one candidate. So if you seek to lead us and you cannot put the image of the party above what you think would help your campaign, I think that's a very problematic trait as well.
Okay.
Because this is a question we would have to answer in the future, just as Honorable said. The NDC, they are not sleeping. They are
taking notes.
They are taking notes.
They are taking notes.
Yeah.
Well, the youth organizers have demands. One, they say that they are calling Honorable Brian Achampon to immediately retract his comments and render an unqualified apology to Dr. Bawumia, the good people of Ghana, and the entire MPP family. They urge the leadership of the MPP to take steps to ensure that such divisive rhetoric has no place in our party as we march confidently towards victory in 2024 elections. And they say, we reaffirm our unflinching support for Dr. Bawumia as the flag bearer who represents the future, vision, and aspirations of the Ghanaian youth. These are their three demands that they are putting across. Yeah.
I have the Daily Guide with me here. And, Doc, so one story that has my attention, 10 arrested, weapons seized ahead of Akwatia by-elections. Yesterday, I did that news on the midday bulletin, and then one person that I really wanted to engage was you and Harry Nanabuachi, because late last week we had a conversation here on the show together with Rashid Tanko Computer. And one thing stayed with me all through the weekend. Harry Nanabuachi said that, well, okay, the police, we're okay that they're coming to Akwatia to ensure security, but our faith in them is hanging. Does this arrest in any way change how much your faith in them? Is it still hanging? Has it dropped in any way? Has it increased?
No, of course there's been a complete breakdown of trust between the security services and the New Patriotic Party. And this is not the best way for them to... I mean, it's a step in the right direction. People should not be able to bring arms into the by-election zone. But it does not give us enough comfort going into the election that will be protected. You see, the problem is not too long ago, we were in a conflict zone, basically, in our own country, in the capital of this country, in Greater Accra. It was turned into a conflict zone. So it's very difficult, and I think it's expecting a lot from the MPP that's in just less than, has it been 2 months, that we totally forget about that incident and just how helpless the police were to be able to place our trust in them again. You say some of these issues come down to survival and just self-preservation. As a human being, you have that natural instinct to want to live, to want to survive. And so if you see your colleagues just treated anyhow, not just treated anyhow, but mercilessly beaten just a few months ago, I don't think anybody will be able to have some trust in the system barely 2 months down just because some arrests have been
Will it be the number of days or years after that incident, or it will be some actions that the police will? Because I recall that some days ago, they indicate that they had arrested some persons, some suspects that were engaged in the Ablikuma North rerun elections.
Yes, I saw that.
They have as well done this one. Because then beyond the Akwatia by-election, there are going to be many more elections.
Yes, so they have the Akwatia
There are going to be days that the NPP or the NDC is going to have to depend on the police anyway.
Of course.
So at what point, really?
We are going to watch them at the Akwatia by-election. That's really going to be a show of what kind of police force they want to be. That's their next opportunity to prove themselves. I did read the news article about the arrest on the, but we don't know who has been arrested. Funny enough, as I said here the other time, so much fanfare is made out of people that tweet or make a TikTok video and get arrested. In fact, there's still a journalist who has been remanded. I wonder what's going on there. The journalist from Wuntumi as well. But that we always see his face, like it's very public. You don't have to think far to know who has been arrested for what. But on these issues, I don't see that the same kind of will. So it's something that we would have to watch and see how they conduct themselves in Akwatia. And at that point, we can then revisit this conversation as to if the trust will return. But I mean, you cannot blame us for being very high on self-preservation.
Well, the bigger issue is the two parties involved. Mm-hmm. That's the bigger issue. As we sit here today, if the NDC and MPP decides that there won't be any conflict in Akwatia, there won't be conflict. The police, okay. Yes. If we decide, and we are honest with ourselves, and people do not go to orchestrate things just to paint, it's politics. People will use all other means. All other means.
Are supporters not supporters, Honorable? Supporters are supporters yesterday. Supporters are supporters today.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. But supporters do not just support vacuum. They support a party. And the party has a strategy, depending on what is facing you. That's a fact. Today, we've gotten an accusations. Even when I was coming here, I heard that clearly MPP accused NDC of plots to lynch out mayhem during the election.
Because of some of the pronouncement they've had, not so.
You see, it's just like the pronouncement made by my sister. Okay. And last time we came here, 3 weeks or thereabout, I think when I blocked or something, he said, if the police is not doing enough, they will be prepared to defend themselves. He said that. Mm. But I also indicated to her that yes, she might be saying that because of issues, but not that she's a violent person. No. It is for us to understand that it's an election we are going into and to come out. Even as our late brother, Ernest Kumi, when he was there, NDC had issues with him, being a parliamentarian, representing the people. But after he passed on, we all came together, mourning as a country, saying that, no, this guy is a good person. Beyond the politics, he's a good person. So the same way, we are looking for a representative. For me, I have no doubt, because there's much for us to talk about, messaging and everything, looking at where Akwatia wants to be in the next 4 years. We have a good message to. I don't know why NDC should go fighting anybody. But let's also trust. Like she said, she made a very interesting point that the capital became a conflict zone. Let me even assume without admitting that was the case. That was the case. But that was between two parties. But at a point in this country, the same capital, Ayawaso, it was NDC as against state apparatus. Not just NDC against MPP, no. This is now we are moving away from that. And I think at a point when we begin to look at it critically, we as politicians make mockery of ourselves because people think that anytime you are out of power, the police become a target of somebody who is hostile against you. And anytime you are in power, because somebody will also point out to me and say, but prior to 2024 election, you were always everywhere condemning the police. Same. My sister was everywhere defending the police. So the real actors are just us sitting down here. If we agree today that when we go to Akwatia and come back without any mayhem, it will happen. So my appeal is that let's put Ghana first. I have every trust, and I'm very hopeful. I made a joke last time here that even if we are going to contest election in Manchester this time, we are bold to go as NDC. There's no point going to fight anybody.
Honorable, now you're being, this is overconfidence. Wow.
No, I'm just telling you. We are bold to go.
Will you not contest in the Volta region?
If you know that decision is a little above
to me.
But he said,
no, I mean not you personally. I mean, when the NPP contest in the Volta region, though, is widely believed.
Oh, of course we will contest.
Yes, so if you have confidence to contest,
it's what he said the previous time.
This is a seat.
He said we would shake, and that's what I'm telling him. That's just not possible.
What I'm trying to say is that this is a election. 2024, we lost that seat by just 2,000 votes or barely 2,000 votes. I get it. That's 53 against 47%. So it means that the chances are good. The chances are good for NDC to pick this seat. So I think the candidate of NDC has good message. Do you want to put somebody there who will go complain and tell the president will not listen to me, or you put somebody there for the next 3 years, the constitution will get. You have a good look at all the indicators pointing out. Clearly, you have message. Why do you have to go fight it?
Doc, I have a question.
Okay.
If Akwatia by-election doesn't go your way, what message would it send? How would you feel about it?
Her focus is the presidential term.
Not exactly that. You see, I don't think we as a party have even considered that Akwatia would
When people go into, I mean, both parties are here. When you go into elections, whilst you think about the win, do you prepare for the losing as well?
Of course.
Yes, of course. You know, and especially depends on where you're having these elections. The dynamics in almost every constituency in this country are a little different. And there's a lot of groundwork that's done before some pronouncements are made. And in Akwatia, we are very prepared and we are confident that we will not lose the Akwatia seat. But in any case, I am not one of those people that believes that an election defeat is the end of the world. It just means at that point, at that moment in time, the people are just telling you to go and come back better. So it doesn't mean that everything you did was wrong or that you really had nothing.
She has a way of campaigning for Bomia. That's what she has done right now.
But there are seasons to everything. And so, but I don't believe that in this particular time in Akwatia, I do believe it's the season of the MPP, as it has been over the years.
Let's do the newspapers, and when we have time, we'll talk about what Martin Pebu believes about Baumia and then the other candidates as well on the chain. But
really?
I want us to look at the BECE results that have been released. Now, we're told that WAEC has cancelled 895 results, withheld 1,333 in 2025 BECE over malpractice. It says the West African Examination Council has released the provisional results of this year's BECE with nearly 2,300 candidates affected by sanctions for malpractice. A total of 603,328 candidates, which included 297,250 boys and more girls are going to school today. 306,078 girls from 20,395 schools sat the exams at 2,237 centers nationwide. According to WAEC, 2,526 people were absent. In a statement signed by John Kapi, head of public affairs, WAEC confirmed that following investigations into irregularities during the exams and the marking of scripts, the 36th meeting of final awards and examiners appointment committee approved several punitive measures. Well, I've seen some results coming in from some place and they were incredible. But how do we really deal effectively with malpractices during exams? Honorable.
Well, I think for this, it all boils down to the orientations. I keep saying this. Yeah, where if you have a system running towards immediate gratifications rather than delayed, people want to find shortcuts to make life. A system where people don't question why people are living a particular life, those things will happen. We have schools now, all the glory they get is the results they produce, not the character of the children they produce. So if you have a school that will focus on just getting A's, irrespective of what the child can do, people glorify those schools. Every parent ran toward that school without finding out what actually is the school producing. And that's the focus, the challenge we have as a country. For me, this BECE, I think the SSLA is generally, on the whole, we have about 1,295 people sitting for that exam.
Okay.
I met with them. I made an opportunity. I got an opportunity to be, because some of them are coming from very far communities. I got my people to be able to provide one hot meal for them for the period of the exam. I told them, the important thing is you. And these are children who are asked to make a decision at the time that they themselves are in conflict with their own self. So we need proper guidance to be able to make decisions, to shape their lives, to take the right decisions. I told somebody, and it was like a joke, at that tender age, if you are a teacher who wanted to push them to read more, if you are not careful, you are the person they'll be mocking at. And so we need the right people to have the right patience and right thinking and psychology to be able to put them at the right track. But what do they see? I keep telling people that, no, somebody will see, maybe you go to a school and somebody will say, oh, doctor has come in with a beautiful car. The person is not focusing to find out her profession, how she has gotten to that place. The focus is just the car, because we are more of materialistic driven than looking at issues that will really transform us as human beings. So if we begin to have this kind of orientation, let people know that, no, let's begin to gratify the right. Let's make sure that, yes, delayed gratification is imbued in these little children, so they understand that you have to go through the mill. It doesn't really matter the material possessions. It matters what you contribute to society. If you do that, I am sure going forward, these things will change. But it will take time. Otherwise, the current situations we are seeing, we've gotten children who are supposed to be in school will run to Galamsey size because they think that somebody will come from Galamsey and ride a motorbike. We have that challenge. People will stay, children will go doing, but instead of going to school, they think that it's waste of time. All that is a shortcut. And once you have that, it's difficult to have people stay in school, learn. People do not even go to library again. No, library means nothing again. Even though we talk about technology, I made it the point here last time that in some other jurisdictions, technology has always become an advantage for people to grow. But in our day, largely, people rather retrogress because of technology. Because what is supposed to put them in school? I've seen students bend down school just because they ask them to use phones. They bend down school, they get angry and bend down school because they think that you ask them not to stop and go to library. No, use the thing with your phone to read, they won't read. So it's a challenge we have to look at as a nation to see that, no, what are we showcasing to our children? The young ones behind us, the generation we want them to come and take over from now. What are we showing to them? If we are able to do that kind of self-introspection as a country, then we understand that, no, we need to go and try to cross the T's and then put the right dots as where it's supposed to be, making sure that character matters, attitude matters, problem solving. We should be people who are trained at a very tender age to be able to deal with problems. If we think that that's the way to go, then that will be the best. Otherwise, we are facing a big challenge that people will want to find all forms of ways to be able to get shortcuts. And it's about the accolades, the grades. We've gotten them. I've asked somebody who had A in maths and cannot differentiate between triangle and
How did the person get the A?
That is the point. I'll give you a story that in my life. Somebody even one time called me and said they wanted assistance to get to Sunyani. That's the nursing training college there. Okay,
Honorable, we'll come back to you, but let's bring in the head of public affairs for WAEC, John Kapi, who's joining us on the phone lines now. I'm grateful to you, sir, for joining. Now, we understand that you've cancelled some results. Run us through those and let's know what you're doing as a remedy to deal with those cancelled results.
Thank you. I think that for those who had their results cancelled, they'll have to wait until next year to register and then write, and then ensure that they do not repeat the mistakes that they made or the deliberate attempts to cheat in the course of the examination.
Hey, that will be okay. I thought you had some remedials that you used to organize. Can they take advantage of that?
Yes. Well, we organize remedial exams, but these are done annually, especially for BECE. It is done just once in the year. It is the one that is done twice a year.
Okay. Okay, so that's for those who have been cancelled. What about those you've withheld?
Well, those that have been withheld are those whose steps were found to have, and the examiners realized that there were some that didn't do independent work. There was some collusion in some of them. And so we are going to give them a hearing. We are bringing the evidence of collusion and other forms of cheating before them. And then they will have to answer questions as to how it happened. And if they are convincing enough, fine. Otherwise, we'll go ahead and cancel them. If they also are found not culpable, we will release their results.
Well, and when will this happen?
Well, we are working around it in the course of this week and next week. So hopefully by the 6th of September, all the results will be out.
Okay, 6th of September, yeah? Okay.
Yeah, maybe if you can hear me. So the numbers that have been withheld, you're giving them a fair hearing. For the 895 cancelled, this was outright cancellation. Were they giving any fair hearing or per the rules, once the invigilator is able to determine that you cheated or you engaged in any form of malpractice, it amounts to cancellation outrightly?
Well, usually when the exam is ongoing, we have people who go around to monitor. Now, in the course of the examination, if a candidate is found with foreign material on them, they are made to write a statement to admit the offense. So based on that, we can cancel straight away because the candidate has at that moment admitted their offense. But those that we have withheld are because we discovered this not in the presence of the candidate. And so we are now going to give them a hearing. We show them the scripts and they tell us their story. Of course, most of the time they'll tell you nothing happened, but there's obvious collusion that is found in the scripts. And so we take a decision based on the rules of the examination.
For the malpractice this year and last year, if you compare, which one is more serious, the numbers particularly?
I have not looked at it closely, but from what we announced, it looks as if the figures have gone slightly higher.
What is it? Is it that more candidates are sitting and registering, are sitting and taking the exams, or where now the surveillance is a lot more tighter, so you're picking up more numbers? Is it strange that the numbers have increased?
Well, we have increased our monitoring at this time, but I think that people are getting more and more daring because some of the things that we record when we go out to monitor are things that you would wonder how and why they happen that way.
Okay.
You also said results from 87 schools remain under scrutiny. What are you looking for?
Well, so scrutiny simply means that the examiners have reported that the candidates colluded or that something went wrong. Now, you don't go ahead to cancel just because an examiner has said it. You will have to convince yourself. And so this scrutiny is going to be done in order that we convince ourselves that indeed what the examiners are reporting is true.
Or not. Yeah. All right. But in terms of performance, compared to last year, what are we looking at? Was this year's performance better than last year?
Well, we haven't done that comparison because with the T9 grading system, we usually do not compare it year in, year out. So for this particular one, we haven't compared it with the performance of the previous year. So we cannot say, for example, that this year is better than last year.
Okay. All right. Grateful to you. John Kapi is head of public affairs for WAEC. So that's it. Doctor, we didn't come to you on this.
I would have to agree on most of the things he said. The culture of...
okay, hold on.
Did
you finish your story?
That's right.
Did you finish your story?
Let me, for the sake of, I just think that we have to emphasize on standards, making sure that we shape the children right to let them understand. Our orientation should be completely different. Let's get them off that kind of materialistic tendencies, the shortcuts, to make sure that we prepare them to be able to take over from us as a whole group. I think I'll end that to give you.
It mustn't just be about chew and pour, pour and pass and go.
Yeah, that's true, because it's a cultural problem. I'm sure every year we have this issue. Every year. Sometimes the whole papers are cancelled and you have to rewrite it. I remember it got to a point there was English that was cancelled and everybody had to rewrite it. So it looks like it's a systemic problem that we deal with. I was quite happy about the gender parity we had achieved. That is something we achieved.
This is not parity, you've surpassed it.
It's something that was achieved last year, one of the byproducts of the free senior high school. I'm actually quite proud of some of the things that the MPP government achieved in the health sector, even though it was one of the biggest. That's where the NDC invested so much of their propaganda money into our education sector to find problems with the free SHS policy and feeding, and we'll cancel double track. But I'm pretty sure these the students that just finished the BECE will still have to go through a double track system in the secondary school. I'm sure the NDC has now seen that it wasn't so terrible and that there are benefits to making sure that we can accommodate all the numbers of our young sisters and brothers who have finished the junior high school and want to progress to senior high school. There's no space, it's not an excuse to let somebody's child stay at home. There's no money, it's not an excuse to let somebody's child stay at home. Now that the shoe is on their foot, I've seen footage of some of the food that's been served, and this was one of the things that they really complained about. So again, I am hoping this is not one of the things that we are told is only 8 months, because I don't think it should take that long if you had that genuine will to improve the feeding. Or have they just come to realize that things were not just as easy as they thought?
Okay, interesting. In terms of general performance, I have seen some results coming from a school in my area.
Okay.
And it's beautiful. In fact, I don't know. I hope that this is the way the entire district or municipal will be. There's a school called Princess Catholic Basic School in Princetown. For students who had aggregate 6, there are 2 of them. For students who had 7, 21, 8, 13. Those who had 9, 6. Those who had aggregate 10, 6. And 1 person had 11. So all 49 students had between...
That's distinction.
Yes, between 6 and 11.
Because 6 to 12
incredible. Just incredible. And before the exams, I met them in Princetown, young girls and boys, and I was like, Charlie, force, do... Yeah, so the headmaster called me yesterday and said, you remember the interaction you had with the students? I'm sending you their results. I looked at it, I was like, wow. This is beautiful. So you know what? As we do, permit me to do this. Melma Mobo Princetown, more cry, more exams, more desire, the performance a year pekasuma. Mukra Menobenyan 6 year, but the Meniani, Menobenyan 7, but the 21, Menobenyan 8, 13. I mean, the result is a peka too much. Inti Yamanese Yilabe, by the pa bohozro. Na bodu as robo senior high school na be mama mama ne bezemo be very proud but hozo and bozuma there keep focused na the bela so ko boka baka mabe ojokumla nso mo nganze bene samba na mali umojuma odia nyamne wae. Thank you very much for
for giving you the
congratulations to them. So you have to teach us the
okay, so I was congratulating them,
right,
and telling them that they've done well. I just gave them the breakdown of their results and said they should keep focused and keep making their parents, mother, fathers proud with what they are doing, and they should move on to the senior high school and continue making a hunter proud.
Yeah. It is very difficult when parents have to go for placements, when they go to the placement centers, and you have parents who have their awards having like single digits, fighting for placements, and a parent having a grade of 25, 30, also fighting. You want to make it easy for your parents, you know, when they are fighting, they're fighting. Yeah.
Give them good grades to go and fight. I agree with that.
But Honorable, what you have, Daily Graphic says that what?
Well, we have quite a lot. Daily Graphic, we have President Mahama in Singapore for a state visit. I think they've moved from Japan. We have Z9 helicopter crash probe underway. report expected in 30 days. Then we have YOKO recovers 100 stolen vehicles, warns public to be vigilant.
Okay. What about you, Doc? What do you have on your... any story has your attention?
Well, so it's the investigation board begins work on Z9 helicopter crash as well. We are eagerly awaiting that report because we do not want a repetition of that incident. We have ADB MD comments, University of Education Winneba for launch of bold strategic plan. Will ensure peaceful elections in Akwatia or Pariado. We hope you actually mean that. Then we'll come to the front page of the Catalyst. It says, Mahama meets UN Secretary General at T-Card 9. GIS warns public against fake recruitment scam. I think this is the second time we've spoken about a recruitment scam on this set. Minister halts illegal lagoon filling at Pong Kataman. So Mahama lands $100 million agric deal.
Okay.
And yeah, and inside... Well, it looks like somebody took exception to the comments of Honorable Brian. I would save us that, but the headline alone is punchy enough. Let me just read that.
Then you've done your best.
Let me just, I think it's an interesting headline. MPP and the masquerade of tribal politics. The Brian Champon follies. You see, we don't want to be made a subject of ridicule. So.
We know you, so we described you long before.
Well, BNFT, CSOs won the PRMA amendment could obscure all revenue spending, capitalize on CD gains to import agric, manufacturing machinery, AGI, yield compression slow down to persist in Q2 of 2025 as Treasury prepares bond market return. FL Kofi leads women in fintech delegation. But there's, on the National Enquirer, something would interest someone and someone will be happy, someone won't be. Julius Debra says, digital economy at the heart of Ghana's growth strategy. You know why I said one will be happy, one won't be?
Oh, no, we are both happy.
Okay.
We are both happy.
Did you hear it?
I heard it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Digital economy.
Because it didn't just start at one person's end.
Okay.
The investment started long before.
Long, okay, all right.
It's only because the drift of campaign that made us talk about those things.
Okay.
Yes.
Now,
but we can quantify who did what.
No,
okay.
We are building on. So
it is dangerous. It is dangerous to repaint rusty gas cylinders, MPA, to the public. MPP left 9 billion cedis debt at the Agric Ministry, Eric Opoku says. Health Minister hits back at critics. Quote, I am a proud farmer, unquote. President visits to Japan. Ghana secures $100 million for new agricultural project, Okujeto says.
And on the Daily Guide this morning, U.S. assists Ghana in helicopter crash investigation. And the story on page 3 as well says that Finance Ministry in 1.3 million Ghana cedis procurement breach. The story is on page 3. Top justices, lawyers rally for Tokono. Stories on page 4 of the Daily Guide this morning. And I think that the time that the Daily Guide was reported, the number of persons who have been killed and sustained at Yuri land dispute, they reported 5. But as of yesterday, in fact, we're getting to 12, 10 confirmed, 2 nearly going to be confirmed. And there's a scene of how that's happening in front of the Daily Guide. A little later on the show, we shall be talking to YOKO, but you tell me about how you feel, how they, so far, the clampdown on the reports of stolen vehicles and how YOKO is dealing with it directly.
No, to me, I think it's not a good spectacle. You know, this is the time the president is making good effort to create a good impression about the country, to lure investors into our country for better terms. All we are being bombarded on a daily basis is how bad we are in terms of not even being to legally get vehicles. We allow our system to receive stolen vehicles with our top stars and many other people. And it's becoming a challenge to the extent that they are even putting up to 100 vehicles already recovered. That's not a small number. And even now, they categorize some of the cars we use, F-150, Dodge Ram. So if you are in those cars,
which is
they mentioned F-150.
Yes,
they mentioned F-150, Dodge Ram. They even mentioned Honda too. I'm not the
CRV,
So you see all those things. Yeah, some people work hard to be able to buy these cars, and unfortunately they buy it at the wrong place. And this is what the embarrassment they go through, which is not good at all. It's not a good spectacle for Ghana. And I think that the system should be able to fight this. We shouldn't allow a police system to allow this. I don't just blame the buyers, I blame the system too, because we should have proper checks and balances so that we don't allow this thing to our country. It's not a good spectacle.
Okay, Doc. Are you impressed so far? YOKO is working, is it not?
No, MFI, you're trying to set me up this morning. No. I mean, YOKO has done, I mean, the way YOKO handles some matters, leaves a lot to be desired. The outrageous bail conditions, how some of the investigations are handled. But on this case of the stolen vehicles, let me just be honest. I mean, it's something we need to look at. We don't need to suffer that kind of embarrassment as a country. But I also believe that the proper way to deal with this is to have systems that make it very difficult for the cars to even come in the first place. And so that's another way that strengthening our digital systems would be very helpful, because if the surveillance is high at the ports and the cars cannot even get through, I think we'll be able to prevent some of these things so that innocent buyers are not found wanting. Because you see how many CRVs we have in this country, and you know, that's not too much of a luxury vehicle. So whoever would have bought that CRV would have put in some work. Yeah. That's like a working class vehicle, if I'm not wrong. It's not the Range Rovers of the bunch. I think. But
is F-150 quite a luxury vehicle? It is not. It's a truck.
It's a truck, but it's a luxury.
F-150. What? It is a luxury truck.
It's a luxury truck.
It's a luxury truck.
Honorable.
I'm just saying the truck.
It's a luxury truck.
It's a luxury
truck. But the CRV, you know, it really could be any of us.
People even just buy because of the fuel efficiency too. You know,
of
it's
the
now
CRV.
CRV is 1.5, and when you are having it in town, it's good.
It seems to be the ultimate working class car. So it's very worrying that people.
For the luxury cars, do you think that when a buyer is purchasing a luxury car and there are questions, they will know?
So I think for the luxury cars, in my opinion, most of them who buy it are aware that they are buying a hot vehicle. Because if you are buying a $250,000 car, that's fresh off the showroom, and you're buying it in Ghana for even $150,000.
You should question yourself. Yes, you should question
yourself. I mean, how
maybe
do you get
good
so
negotiator,
lucky?
or maybe God's grace upon you is different from.
It's making you buy the car cheaper than the factory price. Wow, we need some of that grace then.
Okay, so this story as well has my attention. Top justices rally for Tokono. Allegations cannot justify removal from office. Now, two former Chief Justices of the Republic, Justice Sophia Kufu retired and Justice Enemi Yeboah retired as well, together with other legal luminaries and juries, have appeared before the five-member Article 1 Forces Committee established by President John Dramani Mahama to testify in support of the sitting Chief Justice Gertrude Tokono Sackey. Sources close to the committee have confirmed. Now, among the other jurists and very well-known legal minds who have also appeared before the committee, according to source familiar to the development, are Dr. S.K.B. Asante, lawyer and paramount chief of Asokari Asante in the Ashanti region, chairman of the committee of experts that drafted the constitution, and Justice Jones Doche, retired Justice of the Supreme Court. The list also includes Mr. Samuel Okujetu, a former member of the Council of State and a renowned legal luminary with over 65 years standing. You know, Honorable, the list here, persons who are testifying or rallying support for Tokono. What comes to mind hearing some of the names?
No, as for do we have Sophia or?
Yes.
Yeah, Sophia for her, because I think she's been consistent. In her case, I think that it's a system. We have a document governing us as law. I want it to be tested to the fullest so that it can be made right for the ordinary people.
Okay.
And if we are fortunate to have people who are legal luminaries going through this process, it's not just for ordinary people. Let's test it at the end, but let's make sure that the right thing is being done. The process as being stipulated by the Constitution is followed. Whatever opportunity that is given to everybody to be able to prove himself or herself, that should be done. I'm not interested in arm twisting or anything, but I also think that we should test the law to the letter, so that we can shape this country and make sure that it is the rule of law that rules and not the rule of man. That's what we are doing. We don't want strong men to be the people leading us. We just want laws to be able to take care of the vulnerable. And that is it. Because this same constitution and this same laws affected many other people who are vulnerable, who didn't even have people to talk for them. Some people are even in remand for over 8 years. They don't have somebody talking for them. Today, we have the legal remunerators facing the same constitution as per the procedures.
In fact, it was voluntary appearance.
Yes, so you see. So they are doing this. So let them go through the mill. And once the thing is justified, and the same article 14611 gives the opportunity. Once everything is cleared, and if she has to be called back, she will call back. And so I think that is the law. Let it take its course.
Okay.
It's, you know, it's the push string and everything that you guys said before you initiated this.
When you say we guys, I'm just saying something different.
I mean, the government in power is everything that you said in opposition. That leads most Ghanaians to believe
just
that
let me ask you a
you are
question.
not doing this in good faith.
Let me ask you a question.
Okay.
The comments of a Brian Achampon, a top member of the party, does it reflect the nature of your
That's
party?
a very good question.
Does
but
it
you see,
reflect?
the times are very different.
How is it
It's
different?
very obvious that we are having an internal squabble and some shots to be thrown.
Yeah.
But this was no other person than your even the chairman of your party.
I've talked about somebody who is hoping to be presidential candidate too.
Oh, that's not the same. The vetting has not even... So for now, he's an honorable member for Abetifi. We are talking about your chairman. Very high places, sort of preempting what they wanted to do. So one would say that this whole Article 147 hearing is not something that's been done in good faith.
Preempting what? The process or... But if the law acts his words, people want the law. The law must be predictable.
She said the law is a law.
Predictable. Yes, she said that the law is the law, but not when you are applying it in a very capricious and biased way.
It's not applying in any
That's the huge responsibility that you have as a leader of this country. You exercise a lot of discretionary power. And that same constitution we have maintains that you must exercise that discretionary power in a manner that is unbiased, not capricious. And we do not see that coming from the government. It looked like this was planned from day one. We've heard what they've said and everything. And some of the things that the Chief Justice has been put through, it's just not right. After her press conference, in fact, I was so touched and sad about everything that happened. And I'm quite happy that now at least more people are showing up publicly to try and prevent this judicial coup that this government wants to undertake. I know I sat somewhere to say that, you know, His Excellency John Mahama is on his last leg and everything. But if he's not careful with this issue, this will be his legacy, that he was the one that removed a sitting Chief Justice over allegations that, you know, did not really hold any water. I don't know if anybody has had the opportunity to go through the petitions, and some of them are bother on matters where she wasn't, decisions of the bench, essentially. There are 5 people and you are singled out to come and answer for that. Some of them are in undertaking her administrative role. If you're in any position of power, especially when there's politics behind it, when I say politics, I don't mean by the general word, I mean like the way there's office politics. So you can imagine the kind of politics in the judicial service. It is the responsibility of whoever is in charge and is initiating this process to be able to see through it. That as somebody that was in that position, obviously she would have some enemies. I can imagine. And that is not it's not a crime that people do not.
I can imagine my dear sister Mrs. Charlotte say.
No, it's not.
Office politics.
You see, it's not the same thing. You see, the Chief Justice is the head of one of the arms of government. To me, I find it a little strange when we want to compare the two situations just because they are both women. They are not the same. There are 3 arms of government: the executive, the judiciary, and the legislature, which you are a member of. They are supposed to be independent and they are supposed to run checks on each other. That is why in the history of this whole country, nobody has successfully removed one of the other heads. Like the head of a judiciary has never been done. It is only His Excellency John Mahama who wants to leave that as part of his legacy. So as we are keenly watching to see how those proceedings go. But as I'm not holding my breath. It looked like something that was pre-cooked before the hearings even started.
The processes are clear, and I think that there's nothing like capricious. No, the processes are clear, as stipulated in the Constitution. I indicated Article 146 clearly states it, and that's what they are going through. So I think that let's leave it as such and wait what happens.
But does the new twist add anything, bring anything to this?
No, it's just about, it's a witness. They go to also make a case. But it adds up to the whole idea, because it's just like if I have a case in court, I'm given the opportunity to bring people to come and say, yes, they know this or they don't know this. And it's just adding up to the process, even further enriching the process. Because remember, she put a lot of cases before the courts, right from the High Court to the Supreme Court on a number of occasions. She even went to the ECOWAS courts. We saw all that.
Do you see her coming back?
Well, as to whether she's coming back or not, that depends on what comes up there. I don't know the final say of this. Okay. I don't know what is really transpiring there. Let's wait and see what will come, because I believe that the Council of State is a body of strong people, people who have the gravitas, who have seen it all. So they cannot be cut off by just a particular process, a political process to take a decision that will go against them. No. So let's wait and see what transpires.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. If you go on to myjoyonline.com, President John Mahama is challenging the global financial system to treat Africa fairly, warning that the continent cannot close its vast financing gaps through charity, but only through access to capital at the right price. Speaking at the opening of the 8th Africa-Singapore Business Forum in Singapore on Tuesday, he said Africa needs justice, not benevolence, in the way international finance is structured. Quote, as the African Union champion on financial institutions, I must be candid. The current global financial architecture remains inequitable for low and middle income countries, he declared. Africa faces an annual financing gap estimated at $1.3 trillion. Infrastructure needs alone around between $181 and $221 billion per year through 2030. And climate financing gap is about $213 billion annually, unquote. President Mahama insisted that the solution lies in building strong financial institutions for the continent. You remember the proposal that we should have our own credit rating agency? What happened to that? Because if you listen to the president, it looks like we need to have our own homegrown institutions that make sure that we borrow at a certain rate, not the one that we are being, fed with by. What happened to that?
Well, like you said, this is a president who is out in the international world, not highlighting sympathy, actually amplifying potential. And I think that there's something for us to leverage on. Now the whole of African continent is calling on what? The African Continental Free Trade Area and after. And I think that's the game changer. When we come together as a group, about 54 African countries, we have about 1.4 billion people to trade with. When we are able to analyze this based on our comparative advantages, if I know as a Ghanaian we'll be able to get this to feed the Nigerian market with over 200 million people, we trade very well. I think that's what we have. So if you are able to do that as a body, then you can set up your own standard to measure you. You can build infrastructure. But like you and me, today, it is much more easy for you to fly from here to UK, that's London, which is Europe, than to fly to Nigeria. Sometimes if you even want to go to Burkina Faso, you have to go through Abidjan. If you are not careful, the delays, the amount of money even that costs you, language barrier, we have regulations, all those things are like hindrances that we have to look through. If we are able to get these basic infrastructures built on, then we can now leverage on that to be able to set up a standard to measure all of us. We are one, but we've been made to understand that we are different. I keep making this point. 54 African countries, because even if you look at in terms of arable land, I'm not talking on natural resources, about 65% of the world's arable land lies in Africa, yet we are the poor people. If you want to talk about gold, all other things that today the Western world are boasting on to be able to build their economies come from Africa. How come? Sometimes you are forced to believe that they say leadership is the cause, everything else is the effect. But how come we have just been an effect continuously and not being the cause of our own issues? So we think that there is a right call. Africa should begin to look at it. Let's come together as a body to be able to build the right infrastructure to propel businesses.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Doc, you want to add on?
Yes, very, very briefly. See, this matter of progress for our country is something that is always very dear to me. And I've always believed that, we have a few problems. We don't have sufficient capital. You see, our system is not structured in a way that you have easy access to capital. There are friends I have who live and work in the UK, and they have really nice cars. Not because they are buying the cars up front. It's because the system is structured in a way that she can pay maybe £1,000 or less a month and she has a Range Rover. So there's not so much, because the system is such a way that you are able to, the financial systems are working. And another problem is we need high paying jobs, and that the way that obviously it's very clear to most people that the best way to drive a lot of high-paying jobs is to invest a lot in this digital transformation. Obviously, that's the direction the world is going in. If you look at the top 10, the top 10 companies with the biggest net worth, you see a lot of tech companies there. So as a country, it makes sense that we would want to drive more growth in that arena, so that when young people come out of school, it's not really about finding a job anymore. It's about maybe creating an app, because then you have access to capital, and then we probably can have our own unicorn one day, like in the sense of, you know, WhatsApp, Facebook, and somebody could have created that from their house, essentially. That's the kind of system we want to create. And that's the kind of system that Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia was very deliberate about coming together. And so he spoke about that, the fintech fund that he wanted to do. He also spoke about the credit scoring system, because if you do not have a credible credit scoring system, and that was also going to be built on the Ghana card and everything we had done previously, if you do not have that, it becomes very risky for you to be in a credit-driven economy. So I do think those are things that we should revisit together as a country.
All right. Thank you very much.
Technology is very perfect, but I think that Africa, we are still battling with the bread and butter issues.
Right.
Africa.
Kojo, would you want to say thank you to our guests this morning?
Okay.
Yeah. You want to say thank you to them?
Thank you to them.
Okay, so, well, let's say a big thank you to Dr. YOKO, Deputy Communications Director, Bawumia Campaign. Mohammed Battaglia, MP, Sisala East, and board member. So we're wrapping this segment, and a little later Mufta will join, but quickly, here is your retirement or your pension finance and security tip for the day. On your screen says that, do you know that your pension is your future? At the National Pensions Regulatory Authority, our mission is simple: to ensure your pension contributions are safe, well managed, and ready for you when you retire. We license trustees and register fund managers and custodian banks. These service providers are carefully approved to ensure your pension contributions are safe and properly accounted for. Now, with NPRA watching over the system, you can rest assured your future is in safe hands. And this is from the NPRA, ensuring retirement income security. Maybe I should let you know another one as well. So do you know Ghana's pension system has 3 powerful tiers, all designed to ensure that you accumulate enough pension benefits for your decent retirement life? We'll be bringing you more of those tips in our subsequent shows as well. But thank you for the segment. Stay. Mufta Nabila comes up, bringing you some exciting fallouts from the just ended Joy Invitational Sports. Please stay.